Get started with the talks and then we'll do the VR stuff after. So everyone, welcome to VR Challenge Musical Special. We're here from the Engineer Cafe in Fukuoka and from Aaron?
Louisville, Colorado.
Yes, live and remote. And we've got a bunch of different presentations and things to try for today's event. 英語も日本語もちょっと両方混ぜてやる予定ですけど、ちょっと日本語苦手なところも多いと思いますから、ちょっとその辺許してください。So we're starting with a presentation from Aaron about sound control, which I don't really know what it is. So it's going to be interesting for me too, but something related to VR and music. So Aaron, can you take it away and let everyone know?
Okay, all right. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, great. Right. So here we go. Okay, so thank you everyone. I hope that my connection stays stable for the presentation. I'll try to keep an eye on Discord here. If
It sounds
anything
really
happens.
good right now, so yeah, definitely.
All right, cool. So I had short notice for a project where I needed to be in the United States. Here I am. So I'm going to do my best to do my presentation remotely. Right. So thank you, Laurie, for arranging everything at the Engineer Cafe, and Neil for stepping up on the presentation of your amazing work. I also want to give a big shout out to Yoshinaga-san. He runs AR Fukuoka, and he always has really amazing content, programming content, and hands-on features to try out lots of really great AR experiences and technologies. Also, Nagamani-san, he does the Fukuoka XR Club. So he's kind of the VR guy in Fukuoka. Amazing guy. He's always running various events. So big shout out to Kaz-san. So thank you guys. VR Challenge is our big thing to try to create some fun experiences, create some friends, make some great memories. We do have, so we've changed the format a little bit. And the idea here with the music special is we wanted to just have fun and talk about VR technology and how it could work with music, and just open it up. These kinds of viewing parties, I think, are really important for the greater community of people to try out VR experiences together and to connect with people that are software developer type people or artistic creative designer people. I want this to be an open exchange of ideas and technical capability. Last month, we had some pretty great participation in the last VR challenge, but we really only had one entry. So Ayaz did this think with boxes experience, and it's really fun. So definitely go to the VR Challenge website and click through to see his experience and give it a try. It's pretty fun. I did a for fun thing with geometry. I took the geometry theme literally and just experimented with how to manipulate the geometry of this tree shape and connect it to music. So yeah, so there's this kind of strobing effect that's synchronized to the beat. And so yeah, think outside, think with boxes, pretty cool. So think, because there's only one, he gets first place, but he really deserved place. He did a fantastic job of this. So to learn more, definitely connect on Discord. You can go to the Steampunk Digital website /VR-challenge and click through to join. And yeah, share your ideas. Right, so along with the new format, how am I doing, guys?
Yeah, it sounds great. I wondered if there's either any questions about the VR challenge, or if we could just do a quick summary in Japanese as well for all the Japanese speakers online and in person.
Oh, sure, yeah. You want to do a quick summary in Japanese?
OK ちょっと日本語でなんか日本語の通訳ですけど、まあ前の VR チャレンジはハッカソンみたいな感覚でちょっと応募して、ちょっと応募する人が少なくて、今回ちょっと違う形でやってみようかなっていうアイディアですね。で今回はミュージックですね。ミュージックがテーマなので、音楽家、今日参加する音楽家とか、技術者プラス技術者じゃない人もアイディアを交換したり、次のワークショップでVR と音楽の体験ゲームアプリとかを作る予定です。はい。I think that's about everything. はい、どうぞ。
Okay.
We got a question. Sorry, we got a question.
Go for it.
I have a question. Where is your company in? You say?
Yeah. Steampunk Digital. Where is Steampunk Digital?
Steampunk Digital is right across from the Fukuoka Tower.
It's in Momochi.
Momochi.
急に出張でアメリカに行ってしまって参加する予定でした。ありがとうございます。Any other questions? なんか質問とか Zoom でもZoom の人は声出したらみんな聞こえますから、ぜひ質問いつでもお願いします。Okay, I think that's basically the intro.
Okay.
Yeah, so take it away.
All right. So now for the challenge part, we decided to change it to be like a game jam. It's a shorter event over one weekend. So if you're interested in joining the weekend jam, it will be going from July 1st, Japan time, from July 1st to July 4th. Laurie, do you want to quickly mention the weekend jam?
Oh, okay. In Japanese, I guess.
Yeah.
そうですね。次のイベントはゲームジャムみたいな感覚で、一応エンジニアカフェでワークショップ黙々会みたいなイベントをする予定です。でちょっと手伝ったりする人もいるけど、トークとかはなくて、自分のプロジェクト、自分のアプリを作る時間を作ります。はい。So that's the next game jam. Yeah. Aaron?
Yeah, actually, there's an error here. It's not. Okay. We're not doing a viewing party on July 3rd here. Sorry.
Oh, okay. What's on July 3rd?
The next viewing party will be August. So July 31st. Sorry. Okay. That's a mistake. This is supposed to be July 31st.
Will be. Yeah. Okay. I think we'll put the newest information on the event page.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll post it on the event page.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Something just happened. Come on, Kino. Here we go. Okay. So let's get on with talking about what OSC is about. So I'll just do a quick introduction. OSC is short for Open Sound Control, and it's a messaging protocol for controlling instruments, musical instruments, over a network. It's kind of like MIDI, but for the for like a over TCP/IP internet. Do you actually, Laurie? Do you want to quickly? Do you want to do the translation alternate, like every other frame?
Maybe if you do your talk, and then I will do questions in English and Japanese.
Okay, that's probably better. All right then. Open Sound is a really useful protocol. It's very lightweight. It's very fast, and it also works across many different programs. And there's some very neat libraries. One called OSC Jack that you can plug into your Unity project. So if you want to install OSC Jack into your project, you can use this feature in Unity where you can add in package. So you go into your project settings and you can add a scoped registry. This is like a collection of tech by somebody else. And so you can add this registry. In this case, Keijiro-san from Tokyo, he's got a big collection of these various Unity modules. And this one is his library called OSC Jack. So then you go into My Registries in your package manager, and then you can go and pick it and install it. And it will install all the related dependencies to support OSC Jack running in your project. To get started, you need to set up, you don't really need a host if you're just listening for messages, because how it works is that you would send a command with this protocol called UDP, and so shoot this packet of data to your computer or to your mobile device, like the Oculus Quest. And all it needs to do is lit on a particular port number. All right, so once you shoot that little OSC message, you need to handle it some way. So what you can do is put this little OSC event receiver on a game object and say, okay, this every OSC message has an address, and that can kind of filter out where you want to put them, where you want the message to go. And so then you can connect that to driving some particular feature in Unity. So you drag and drop your game object, and then you connect it to the thing you want to control. So say you want to control the position of something, it would be a vector3 type, and then you hook up that to this transform position. Now, when someone sends a command with a position, it will be like these little messages that would have, say, a position, and it would then drive that value. There's a really useful tool with OSC Jack called the OSC Monitor, and this is where you kind of get started. When you try to hook up OSC, it can be a little bit mysterious as to what the messages are, what the addresses are for each of the messages. And so you're just like, okay, what's this thing doing? So, or even if it's connected and pointing messages at your system. You don't even know unless you look at this OSC monitor. Okay, so how would you use it? There's many apps that can spit out OSC messages to your computer or your device. But a really nice one is called Touch OSC. And you can get this on the App Store. So the MK1 or the Mark 1 version of it is it's really great. It's just very minimal. And it doesn't cost much money. And so it turns your phone or iPad into, and also Android or desktop, it just turns any kind of computing screen into a control board. It's like one of those, MIDI control boards, like lots of sliders and dials and stuff. Well, that's basically what it's doing here. Is it's just pushing these sliders and buttons and dials into OSC messages and shooting it to your computer to do whatever you want with it. So to set it up, you need to go into, say, Touch OSC settings and change the host to be the IP address of the machine you want to send messages to. So say it's on my laptop, my MacBook. I go and find out what my IP address is for my MacBook. And I set that in the app. Here's the host IP address. And I'm going to send messages out on port 8000. Okay. So if everything's good, you should be able to fiddle with any of these dials and knobs or buttons, and you'll get these messages showing up. So you'll see this OSC monitor will get flooded with lots of these little messages. So then you can kind of figure out, okay, the message I want to listen for is this /1/fader A. All right. So say in my example, I have this GeoTree game object, and I add this event receiver and set the OSC connection information and filter for that /1/fader A. And I just want the number. I want the floating point number and driving a particular value. So I have this script, I call it GeoTree as well. And it has a function that takes one floating point input. And so what happens is, as that event fires, it will, there you go. So as that event fires, it calls this function, change input with the value. And so that sets the value in my little my little script. So that's how you connect up an OSC message to some game object in your scene. And if all is well, you would get this, you hit play, and then you would see the system responding right away. So I'll just show you really quick what that actually looks like. Okay, so here I have the Touch OSC. Actually, I'm gonna just turn on Reflector. And let me just open the app. Oh. 2, 4. Come on. There we go. Okay, so now you can see like what's going on with my phone as well. Okay, so so this is coming from my phone. It's on its side right now. And what I can do is I can fiddle with this knob, and you see that this OSC monitor is actively showing the current messages. So I can also dial these knobs. And so that's a rotary A message. And you can hit these like toggles. So those toggles show up. Okay, so you turn them off. all these slider, multi-fader slides. Here's a fader. Anyways, it's really fun because all these are just generic controls on your touch screen that can now drive stuff in your scene. All right, so what does that look like? Well, so I'm going to just start the scene here. And it's going to look at it from this angle here. All right, so here is the geotree script. And there's the input value that drives the shape of this tree. All right, so I've got this fader A connected to drive input. And now I can actually have music software driving features of my game scene. In this case, the thickness of this tree. So this turns out to be really powerful because you can hook it up to all kinds of parts of your game scene. You can have like different lighting, you can have different like things flying around, you can have them changing scale on you. You can do tons of stuff, and it's all through like this touch input type of interface. So now you can be like a VJ with your phone for this whole experience. All right. Okay, so on Quest, you need to add a couple of permission things in order for this to work. Otherwise, it'll block those packets, those OSC packets, from arriving on the Oculus Quest. So in the plugins Android folder, there's the Android manifest XML, but you need to add these uses permissions for internet and accessing network state. Otherwise, you just won't see anything show up. So otherwise, yeah, you should be able to just build and run. And once it's on your Quest, you need to find out what the IP address of your Quest is on your network. Once you know that, then you just set that IP address in the TouchOSC app, and that's it. Those controls should work. So it's not terribly hard to hook up. Yeah, so that's basically it. Are there any questions?
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, that was really great. Like, I think we can already start to see the possibilities of using different musical controls for games. I wondered if there's any questions or ideas that have been sparked in the room. I don't know if anyone wants to check something.
Yeah, hello. Hi, thank you for the talk. I was curious about, I've never heard of OSC before, actually, until now. I'm a MIDI guy, and I started hearing, oh, MIDI, is MIDI dead because of OSC? And actually, my question is more kind of connected with the sort of like applications for like sound font libraries, and being able to sort of call them from a kind of external hard drive that's connected via USB, and that's the traditional MIDI approach. How can you see that? Maybe I'm like just taking this question in the wrong direction here, but could OSC be used to have a quicker access to external sound font libraries, if that makes sense?
Yeah, so that's a complicated question.
Sorry.
There are definitely some really complementary things about OSC and MIDI. So MIDI is not going to go away. It's just so fundamental and fundamentally good in what it does. It's simple, like it's really easy to parse MIDI. I've learned like how to parse MIDI. I've now written a MIDI parser as this part of this geometry Unity experience. So I learned how to work with MIDI, and it's so simple that like and ubiquitous. All these musical instruments support it, yeah, it's not going to go away anytime soon. But what MIDI doesn't do really is work over network connections as easily. There are bridges for network connections, but that's actually where OSC comes in. So there's actually the Touch OSC bridge by the same company that makes this Touch OSC app, where they've made a beautiful bridging interface between MIDI devices. And you can actually plug in MIDI directly onto your iPhone. It knows how to use it. It will actually bridge from MIDI directly to like OSC broadcast. And it's bidirectional. So if I were to send OSC messages to Touch OSC, it can receive it. It's a listener for OSC messages and translate it into MIDI commands that fire over your MIDI bus.
That answers my second question, actually. Yeah.
So you can then select like your sound font set for, say, like you want to pre-program your keyboard or your synth, or say you have one of your like modules that does like a lot of the DSP processing. Yeah, it'll help you connect to those kinds of hardware. But also, Touch OSC is really great for hooking to a lot of your lighting stuff. So say you're playing a musical performance, well, you could tie one of your keyboard keys to lighting control, and change the whole like illumination parameters of your stage on the fly. And in fact, VJs use this a lot to drive a lot of like the video playback in the VJing system. So they're like an OSC receiver. A lot of the VJing software will listen for various messages, and then you can trigger different like video loops and stuff that are running.
Cool.
Say if you're doing a projection mapping or something, you can completely queue up the next thing and it'll blend and crossfade into all these other things. So yeah, it's super powerful and it's ubiquitous. Both, they work together.
Thanks for the great question. Yeah, I think we're going to have a few demos a little bit later showing a similar thing to that, not using OSC, but using MIDI to trigger visualizations and things like that. Does anyone have any other questions? I mean, Aaron's going to be around online for the rest of the event, so that might be a good time to ask questions. 日本語の質問とか、今あったらぜひ。じゃあ、はい。どうぞ。
モニターでトゥリーの絵が一本ありましたよね。
はい。
トゥリー、キーが。
キーの絵。何のはい。キーの絵。はい。キーのデモですね。
ラインがありましたね。
The phone interface with the...
はい。
で、あれを動かしてたときに木がこう太くなったり、細くなったりしてるんですけど、あれはちょっとどういう意味なんですか？音が大きくなるんですか？
そうですね。OSC はいろんなコントローラー、いろんなデータ、楽器もあるし、他のコントローラーもあるから、意味は自分の好みで作れます。例えばこのスライダーを大きくしてキーが大きくなる。それ音楽と合わせてピッチとか、音量が大きくなると。
だったらキーが太くなるとか、そういうことをやられてる。
はい、そうですね。それ一つの使い方ですね。はい、今日そういうアイディアとか、こういうふうに使ったらいいなと思ったら、ぜひみんなで、はい、アイディア出したりするいいと思います。すみません。I think we're going to just maybe look at some of those demos a little bit later, but let's keep going. So thanks for the talk. I think we're going to switch over to Neil to talk about the VR opera. Briefly, and then we'll try a few things out. So let's just get that plugged in. I wonder, just quick show of hands of people in the room. Who here is a musician or music-related producer, composer, anything like that? And okay, so we've got a good mix. And who here is like a programmer, software engineer, game developer? A couple of people. Who here is something else? Have we got any something else? Just interested? That's great too. Oh, we got about half and half mix today, so that's pretty cool. Neil, have you got your slides going? I wonder if anyone on the Zoom is mentioning what their entry point is. We got it? Okay. So whenever you're ready, and there's your microphone as well.
Hello.
You were on the projector a minute ago and it's gone. There we go. Okay.
Okay. Hello. Good.
Yeah, I think just make sure it's close to your mouth. Huh. Yeah, we got it. We got it.
Okay. So hi, I'm Neil Nair. I
Oh, we've lost it again. I think it
Losing.
might be the adapter.
Is it? Oh.
The cable's quite long as well.
I think I know what it is. It needs power.
Ah, okay. Sorry, we're just trying to get the projector working in the hall. We'll get those slides in a second if you're online. Okay.
Good. Great. Sit.
Nice.
So hi everyone. My name is Neil Nair.
Oh
I'm
no,
the
we lost it again. Huh.
Do you have another one?
I don't have the slides.
No, another adapter.
You can use the Zoom one. Oh, but then we'll lose the Zoom. Let's change the order maybe. I think let's take a break and do a few VR experiences and then we'll come back to the talk. Because, yeah.
Let's give it another shot.
Because I think this might take a bit of setting up to do. It's a shame.
It's online, so if I can sign in from there.
Okay.
I
Yeah, we could do that. Let's take a quick break then, and we'll get some of the VR experiences going, and then we'll get this set up and come back to it. Unless you want to try this. USB-C.
Another shot.
Bit of support from the audience. Thank you very much.
Good.
Okay? Thanks. Awesome. Let's go.
Okay, so hello everyone. I'm Neil Nair. I'm the director of virtual production for Renaissance Opera. It's a company in Vancouver, Canada, and I want to acknowledge that the company operates on the land of the traditional and ancestral land of the Tsleil-Waututh, the Musqueam, and the Squamish people. So, Western opera. When we think about opera, we think about the composers that are famous. But in reality, these operas were created by teams of people from various disciplines, artists and creators, who came together because they were not happy with the traditional forms of storytelling. So they looked at the old Greek masters and the methodologies, and there was a process of ideating, iterating, and collaborating to create these Western operas. So We decided to use these same principles to create our digital experience. So our team is made of artists, opera performers, programmers, and musicians. And we decided to ask one question. So what would opera look and feel like if it was invented today? So I'm going to share you some work that we did first and then talk more about how we made it. Hopefully.
I have walked the corners of the earth, searching for you, Eurydice. I should not have come. I know I have angered the fates. The fates be damned for keeping me from you. Do not tempt them, they will retaliate. I dreamed we fought the fates and were free.
And this is from inside the VR headset.
Welcome to the mortal world. In this place, we are prophecy. We are fate. We balance the forces of life and death. Under our right hand, nature awakens. Under our left hand, nature sleeps.
So the experience we created is a mixture of using motion capture and interactive elements like audio and choices that allow you to create your own experience. So it's a mixture, so it's a kind of a create your own adventure type of experience, meeting an epic opera. So we use motion capture, which is a process of taking a real human performance and converting it into a digital character. Interactive audio, which I'll talk more about a little later, but it's a system which allows your choices and interactions in the environment to influence how the soundtrack changes. And all of this comes together in interactive storytelling, which is done in a game engine. And we use similar technology as video games to make these kind of experiences. So why did we choose VR? Well, we wanted to put an audience inside an opera experience and allow you to use these natural gestures to enhance your experience. And at the time we created this experiment, the Oculus Quest just was released, and VR was becoming more common. So we designed this experience very much like a video game with a branching storytelling. So you make choices, and that chooses a pathway for you and the characters and how they react and perform. There are some challenges with making storytelling inside VR. The first problem is it's 360. So how do we decide where the audience looks? So in our project, we used the lighting, sound and visual kind of cues, and we tried to balance the plot with exploration, and then going back to more plot, more story, and then back to free exploration. Another thing is we want your user to be able to interact with the environment in a very natural way. So we try to do that with giving voice guidance and using similar real-life movements as hand gestures, as you saw in the demo. And lastly, we try to give feedback. So there's a vibration in the controller and audio sounds and also visual animations when you interact with something. So I'll just go into the process of the art. So this entire project was storyboarded using VR as well. We used a tool called Quill. It's available on the Quest, which allows you to draw in VR. So our art director, Conrad, was able to make these beautiful landscapes completely inside VR. And this was the foundation which we built into Unity and into this game experience. This is some of the character concept. That's Eurydice, and this is our other character, Orpheus. And finally, the 3D models that we were made. This is the layout of the project here, where we have a map which shows how you move through the environment, and also some concept art there, all leading us into the eventual project that we made, which is available for testing and checking out later. Motion capture, I'll speak briefly to it because that's my background. We use the optical system where there are cameras all around you and an actor wearing a suit with these reflective markers on them. And so we recorded the body and we recorded the facial using an iPhone and adjusted all of the animation and put it inside the game. I have a slide here which explains the process a little bit better. So you have your facial capture going on at the left side there, and the body capture happening at the bottom left. In the middle, you see how the data comes in to the software. It's just moving points, and we attach characters onto that and put it into the game engine and make it look nice. And lastly, I just want to give you an overview of the musical components. I'm not the musician on the project, so I'll do my best to explain it. The music is based off an actual opera called L'Orfeo. And the interesting point of this project is usually when you're in an audience in an opera performance, your role is extremely passive. You don't need to do anything. But here, the user is directly inside the world. So you become a part of the story, and you're able to interact with the story. And so this creates kind of a new experience. So normally, music relies on time. It needs to have a structure, pacing. But when you add user interaction, the time becomes flexible. So in this project, we had to deal with 3 different states of time. One is the free time, where a user is just walking around the environment, so you have background music. Then there's a fixed time where a user is watching a performance, which has already been captured, so we need to show that timed very well. And lastly is the user-directed sections, where a user is interacting with an object, and that is adding a layer of music. And so the system that was needed to be able to handle this was a dynamic sort of interface where touch or gaze, all of these different inputs that you get with the VR headset had to be taken into account and helped to layer the music. And we decided to take a pathway of creation and destruction. So in this experience, when you interact with objects with the intention for creation, the music will get more light and happy. And if you choose the other route, the music gets darker and more like a cacophony. So back to that opening sequence I first showed. I just want to describe how the music works. So there's a background layer that is the initial layer. The vocal layer comes on top of that, which is spatialized and moving with our 3D character. And then we have flourishes. So when you touch a flower, there's a flourish sound effect there. And then you have your string groups, the top and bottom, which are relating to the creation or destruction. And there's another graphic there, which kind of shows you how everything works. You've got your background music right in the middle, the vocal layer on top, and the either string options, which dynamically come into play. And because it's really difficult to make music harmonious, this had to be carefully spaced out so that you're not hearing a big wall of sound always. And yeah, I'm happy to talk more about this at any time, but you can check out the website to find out what the next events that we do are. And there are the experiences there for you guys to test. So yeah, thank you for your time.
Awesome, thank you. Does anyone have any quick questions or things you want to ask Neil? Go on.
How do you start the VR?
How did you start VR?
I was working in motion capture. Yeah, so I can go back. Yeah, so I was working in this industry, in video games and movies, and I was approached by these opera performers who wanted to, Corona was just starting, so they cannot go to perform inside the theater. So they wanted a way to connect with the audience. So that is why we tried to make VR to allow audiences to experience opera.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity for sort of interactive music experiences and the audience changing the music, which is something that couldn't really do before.
That's
great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's, sorry, thanks again for this great talk. I don't think there were any questions on the chat on the Zoom. But,
I had a question.
Go on.
Yeah. Hi. I was wondering how you would coordinate between the different people on the team. So, for example, it seems that you brought together all of this in Unity, right? And just between the different members of the team, how do you coordinate, for example, the direction of the art direction? Because it seems like there's a lot of artistic direction that goes into an experience like this. So yeah, how are you able to kind of incorporate all of that? And were you able to provide some kind of tooling or a way for the different members to directly maybe interact with the Unity prototype directly, or was it more like meetings with programmers and then kind of trying to replicate that direction?
Yeah, thanks for your question. Yeah, it's actually really interesting. We had to, all of us were coming from different backgrounds and with different skill sets. But you're very right, like we had to collaborate inside this project in Unity. So I think that meant all of us had to pick up some basic skills with Unity. So the music, the composer was used to some amount of composing softwares and things like that, but had to move over to Unity and start learning how to hook things into that. So they started using plugins that allowed them to do that. For animation as well, we started, so everyone tried to find an entryway inside the software, but the nice thing about Unity is it has a lot of pre-built tools that lets you do that. And in terms of just staying on track, we had to be collaborating constantly. So there was a lot of meetings and everybody, luckily it's a small team, so we were able to meet fairly often. And the whole process took about a year and a half because we all had different jobs and things to do at the same time. So we were kind of building this on the side. And yeah, we came together towards the end and really it became a full production process right at the end. So it took time to build up, but everyone learned Unity and learned how to pull the project, add in their elements and send it back. There was a lot of testing and a lot of just iterating.
Yeah, thank you so much. And great talk, really interesting. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Okay. Oh, one from the room.
Thanks for the talk. I'm Taishi. I have a question about devices using VR. So I think your product offers VR. Do you say offers VR? Am I pronouncing correct? Offers VR obviously needs a head-mount display, but I was wondering if somehow you could use smartphones to to experience your product like a VR, like music experience.
Yeah, so that's a great question because that is the result of this project was we realized that the VR devices were getting more popular, but not everybody has access. So we started, and a video that I showed you, So this video here was done for the YouTube 360 format. So we were able to upload some of our work onto YouTube and allow you to move around in 360, but it's not quite the same because you can't interact with it. And so this led us to our latest iteration of this product is now moving into more of a live streaming format. So using VR, using 360 technology, and we're still developing what that looks like. So the goal is to get this onto more devices, but I think the hardware is still catching up slowly. When your smartphone is fully able to take you into that world and let you move around and interact in that, or smart glasses or whatever the technology is, I think we'll be able to translate. For now, it is built for VR and hoping to bring it to more devices and streaming soon.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think that's all the talks for today and all the questions, but we're going to stick around on the stream and in person to do some of the actual testing stuff out. So thank you very much, Neil, again. I think, so people on the stream, please feel free to stick around and see kind of us trying stuff out or ask questions to Aaron and Neil and me. But in the room here today, we have a few Oculus headsets and a few musical experiences. So this is kind of a bit freeform and a bit wild. So I think what we'll do is maybe move these tables out a little bit and make some space for doing VR. And I've got some MIDI instruments over here, and I know maybe there's some other musical stuff that people have brought. So let's, I don't know which one is which.
Those two have
the
cover on it, and then maybe...
These have a few other things on.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's maybe make some space in the middle of the room and move the chairs towards the edge as well. And give it a try. So I don't think we have quite enough devices for every single person. I don't know if anyone brought their own, but we probably can take turns trying them out. Should be no problem. So,
VR battle in real life.
basically, yeah, let's make some space and let's try them out. Whoosh.